strange occurred while we were away. A period of 30 million years slipped by in what seemed like a 20-minute intermission. Well, a lot can happen in 30 million years. While we were away, the Jurassic gave way to the Cretaceous period. The continents have been on the move as usual, and a new ocean has opened up, separating the Americas from Europe and Africa. It will become the Atlantic. Only one group of reptiles can possibly bridge this watery gap and cross continents. For nearly 80 million years now, flying reptiles have soared over the earth. These pterosaurs dominate the skies. Recently, though, these extraordinary creatures have started to get bigger, much bigger. One of the largest is the Ornithocheirus. His body is not much bigger than ours, but with a wingspan 40 feet wide, and he's covered in fine fur like a bat. His bones are hollow to keep him as light as possible, and those huge wings give him 150 square feet to catch the wind. And they're filled with sensors that constantly send information to the brain so he can trim his sails and float along the softest breeze. Watch how he glides, riding the air. He can travel over 40 miles from a cliff top or on a warm updraft from these volcanic fissures. Ornithocheirus is a constant wanderer. On he travels over open water, moving easily between the newly created continents. He stays up there for hours, searching for food, day and night. Place out here for him to stop and refuel, so he feeds on fish along the way. Flying just above the water, he skewers his prey with his sharp teeth and that long beak. But there's a storm brewing, and a huge glider like this will need to find some place to roost. But will he make it? Of the air, but he's vulnerable on land. And these predators know it. Here comes a nasty bunch. A gang of killers nicknamed raptors. Meet the Utah Raptors. It's finished. Feeding time is usual. And there is a definite pecking order. The week or two will have to wait for their meals. Nothing like the dinner table at your house, I'm sure. Now you see feathers here too. The more flamboyant plumage is on the two males. The female doesn't need to be so fancy because she's the boss. Those males are trying to please her. Again, nothing like your house, right? Oh, none for you. Do you hear those sounds they make? Raptors are intelligent enough to communicate with each other. It helps them work as a team in pursuit of their prey. Those sleek, muscled bodies are held in perfect balance by their tails. The tail constantly adjusts as the raptor slinks forward. Graceful, but deadly. You wouldn't want to run into one of these guys in a dark alley. And look at their arms. The way they tuck them away at their sides. The way they fold at the wrist. The way they're held. Does that remind you of anything? Hold that thought. We'll get back to it. But the thing I find most interesting about the raptors is their concentration. See, as he walks, his head hardly moves. His eyes stay fixed on the goal ahead. But they're quick when they need to be. He's pretty smart for a dinosaur. We tend to think that a bigger brain makes a creature smarter, but for the raptor, it's quality, not quantity that counts. Time. We travel through time. Millions of years fly by until we come to rest in the mid-Cretaceous period, where there's a new addition to the landscape of conifers and ferns. Flowers. Think of this. Until now, no creature on Earth has ever seen the color of a bloom. But now with the arrival of flowers, it's beginning to look a bit more like the world we know. Well, maybe just a little bit. did that happen? Well, it's all because of insects. Here's how it works. You see, insects were around for 100 million years before dinosaurs, but they had nothing to do with pollination. Plants used to be fertilized by either wind or water. But in the Cretaceous period, they discover another way. Now, insects were always feeding on plants, and eventually, they start to carry pollen from one plant to another. Well, this works really well for the plants, so they start to reward the insects with delicious nectar. That keeps them coming back for more, and then the plants begin to compete with each other to attract the insects with color. It's their weapon of mass attraction. If you're a good-looking plant, you flourish. Hey, look over here, red. No, come to me, I'm yellow. Who wants purple? The more flowers, the more insects. And the more insects, the more flowers. That's how coevolution works. And this is one of the most beautiful examples. So now, we see more types of insects coming into being because of all the flowers. Like bees. And wasps. Moths. Butterflies. Miracles of natural engineering, beautifully evolved to feed on flowers, which then reward them with sweet nectar and brilliant color. Nature at its most perfect. Almost perfect. Anyway, that's all flowers are really. Beautiful examples of reproductive display. For us, it would be kind of like perfume or sports cars. Animals have them too. And dinosaurs had them in a big way. That huge crest is his reproductive display. His horns and crest give him status among his kind. He's got the biggest skull of any land animal ever. And yet, he is pretty sociable. He likes to live in herds. Well, he's sociable up to a point. He is territorial. Males dominate the herds, and this guy is master of his turf. So with that massive head and the safety of herds, what on earth could threaten Torosaurus? Not much. Except another Torosaurus. This younger male is ready to challenge his authority as leader of the herd. time, youth conquers experience. After dominating the herd for decades, the older Torosaurus surrenders to its young challenger.